Goeiemiddag mense. Alright, today I'm gonna groom this lawn, mow/scalp, fertilize. So let's get right to it. Look at that. Jeez, if I wasn't a lawn geek, I'm certainly turning out to be one right now. This machine, in full disclosure, is not mine. It is a prototype from Pretoria. They are busy designing a scarifying reel option as well as a Verticut, which is in your hand now for the SR series machines. This machine over here is a 20-inch in long tips red, hosting a grooming reel, and that I bought first because I'm going to be using that 99% of the time. These guys, the more aggressive blades, we use less of the time, so it's a good opportunity for me to purchase a machine that soon will be able to take these reels as options. Before we go any further on this video, I want to point out that you do not need all these fancy machines. At the very least, you need a lawnmower. A rotary does perfectly fine. My channel is a testament to that. The whole beginning, I think the first year and a half to 2 years of the channel, is just rotary mowing. I then upgraded to Frankenstein, and cylinder mowing helped me clean things up, but it's not the be all and end all. It just does a little bit better. It's like kind of the cherry on the top. Right, so to get straight into the meat and potatoes of lawn care in spring, a lot of guys refer to it as a lawn renovation. That is basically scalping your lawn, top dressing, fertilizing, maybe aerating with a garden fork or a fancy tool called a core aerator. I'm not going to do that because I'm too lazy. If you really feel like your ground is compacted enough, you would stick one of those in the ground or use a core aerator. For the most part though, at the very least, taking your rotary mower out, scalping / mowing your lawn very short, get rid of all the muck that's in there, put down some top dressing. Usually something like a sifted topsoil mixed with compost is a good idea if you're getting started with things. And then fertilizing is a great way to get your lawn kick-started in spring. Right, now this little adventure that I'm about to embark on is more for grasses in the southern hemisphere, warm season grasses like Kikuyu, which is this guy over here, and Bermuda, which is this guy over here, otherwise known as Kikuyu in South Africa. This is actually our native grass. Kikuyu comes from more central Africa. These warm season grasses work in a similar fashion. In other words, they have this runner that you see here, which is called a stolon, that grows on the surface of the ground, and it grows all these shoots off of it, and as you mow it, it makes a nice turf density. These ones are pulled out of the depths, these deeper areas here, because where I'm mowing at 10-11 millimeters, like this area over here, I can't pull this out to show you really how the structure looks, because I've almost killed through or chopped up all of these stolons to make a finer, denser turf, which is kind of the objective when you're looking at making a nice lawn. These grasses, so long as you've got the second portion of them, which is another runner that's under the ground called a rhizome, you can basically eat through everything that's on the surface and still have the rhizome and root structure grow back through. You want to ensure that you at the very least have had a full growing season without any problems before you try and embark on removing everything from the surface or scarifying it very heavily. Otherwise you're going to end up in trouble. And then you get grass types like this, which is Ale Maria, and this only has a stolon on the surface. So once you've eaten through all of these runners on the surface, even though you might have a root system left behind in the ground, it won't be enough for the plant to regrow, and that's where you'll kill it off. So that's why guys say you need to be careful with scalping and scarifying LM, but you can be quite a bit more aggressive, as you would have seen in my videos, with Kikuyu and Bermuda in particular, so long as they've had sufficient time. In other words, they are mature plants that have developed a rhizome structure with a good root system, so that you can get rid of the surface stuff and muck to make a cleaner, tighter, denser turf surface like this during the growing season. Now for you unlucky people who live in cold regions, you will most likely be growing a cool season grass, like a perennial ryegrass, Kentucky bluegrass, some of the fescues. Those grasses can still go through the lawn renovation process of scalping and top dressing, but you got to just do it a little bit more delicately. You can't go quite as aggressive as what you can on Kikuyu and Bermuda. So I'd suggest finding yourself a YouTube channel that looks after cool season grasses like Connor Ward out in America, or Ryan Knorr. These guys grow cool season lawns. you have a look at exactly how hard or aggressive they go in their lawn renovations in their springtimes, and sort of gauge your turf on that. Don't necessarily just follow what I'm doing. This is for warm season grasses, particularly Kikuyu and Bermuda, not Alem, not Buffalo. Remember, Buffalo in America is St. Augustine. So the wind has picked up and it's going to get a little bit ugly on the microphone here. I'm going to pack away the tools that I'm not going to use. In other words, I'll leave out the grooming machine and my cylinder mower, because I'm going to groom and then just clean it up afterwards. Next weekend we'll do top dressing and all the rest of it. Things to take note of is that you can't just conduct a lawn renovation whenever you want. It needs to be during the growing season. In other words, your grass type's growing season, which works in collaboration with your region. And you can do that anytime during those growing seasons. So you can be aggressive during the growing season and less aggressive on the outsides of the growing season or outside of the growing season. Another key point that I don't think enough people care to mention is that you must always take into account how your grass currently looks, its current condition. For example, if your grass is damaged or there's a fungus on it, or it's being chowed by insects, or you're a Cape Tonian in the middle of summer and you haven't had rain in a long while, your grass is under stress, don't go and scarify and scalp the living hell out of your lawn, because you'll probably damage it either to the point that it almost entirely dies off or largely dies off. And what happens when grass is open for too long? As I think I've already said before, you'll get weeds instead of lawn again. So choose your battles carefully. Enough chit chat, let's get to grooming and mowing. Okay, so because I lost too much daylight doing this now, I started too late in the afternoon, I'm not going to be able to put down a pre-emergent herbicide. What I will do now quickly is fertilize. I'm going to fertilize it, water the heck out of it. Tomorrow morning the irrigation will turn back on and go through the normal cycles again. Next weekend I am going to top dress, but I need to put down a post-emergent herbicide sometime as well. I don't know, I'll figure out the rest now. I'm too late. This is what happens when you procrastinate and you're lazy and you feel like going for a coffee first and this, then, and the next thing. You don't get your yard work done. Shame on me. Goeiemorgen mense. All that I put down was good old Novatec NMAX, which is a high nitrogen fertilizer. It's what you should be doing when conducting a lawn renovation. You want high nitrogen because it's going to boost that top growth, and nitrogen is what grass needs most anyway. So you're just giving it a bit more of a hefty dose in the beginning of the season because you're about to remove half of its body, its mass, by scalping and scarifying. So you need to fertilize, and you need to fertilize quite a good dose. And when fertilizing, you need to water. So what I'm doing today is top dressing, but first I'm going to go over it again with the groomer, but set now basically to ground level. It is going to eat in as much as possible. I'm going to run over it, at least twice, and then I've reset Frankenstein to 8 millimeters, and we're going to go over the lawn multiple times with Frankenstein at 8 mils to basically give more of a cleanup scalp. So I'm hoping that the grooming reel will get rid of most of the thatch and open, the canopy this way. Then that guy, Frankenstein, is going to clean up and give me that smooth look again. And that's what's going to give me the starting foundation for the top dressing session. don't know about you guys, but for me, there's nothing better than a biltong sandwich. Look at that. Koningskos. Alright, there we go. That is a nice, clean, tight mow. I groomed, I think, enough. I did notice now in that last little bit, when you start to go over that second or third time, then you start to get more of a scalp than grooming effect. So you've got to choose your angles very carefully, otherwise you do just scalp. Then I might as well have brought out a Scarify and just scarified everything. But in that circumstance, if I had done that, I wouldn't have been left with green on the surface there. So I'm going to leave it like that and get started on the top dressing. So let me show you what I've got. Right, there it is, 7.5 tons or 5 cubic meters of the same top dressing that I've been using, or lawn dressing that I've been using for the last couple of years. All that it is a sifted topsoil mixed with chicken manure. It's a little bit more coarse than I've ever had it before, but I think that's just because it's too early for the season. They actually told me, you know, don't order now because it's going to be a little bit rough. But I think later in the season it will turn out better for those who are purchasing later than me. This is what it looks like. So if you clump it together and you let it go, it will form a little bit of a mold. It's because it's got clay in it. It's topsoil, it's sand, silt and clay. It's proper soil. But the second I touch it or break it up, it will break up because it's more sandy than it is clay. That is about as perfect as what you need for top dressing. Yes, there is organic stuff in it that will break down and cause undulations, but as I've proven to you, it doesn't matter that much. Later on, maybe I'll start using sand, but for now, I'm building a topsoil layer that will keep organisms and other things fed for decades, and that's what I want. So there it is. So now I just have the tedious task of moving it 80 meters a shot each direction down to the bottom of my yard. So what's that, like 60 or 70 trips with 150 kilograms and a wheelbarrow. It's going to be fun. Enjoy. These are back in stock on the website, by the way. It's been living outside for 4 years and it's still perfect. Now you might be asking, is that going to smother and kill my grass over there? Yes, but I have to do it. If I need the grade redone, then that's what it's going to have to be. So what? Grass grows back. Well, at least Kikuyu does. Okay, I'm done for today. People are arriving. I'm in trouble. So that's it for now. Maybe see you tomorrow. So as you know, with previous videos, I don't normally like to wet the topsoil first, but because this is more of a compaction process that's needing to happen here, I need for this to settle as much as possible. so that I can get more topsoil into this little void here. I'll do the same at the bottom of the yard just now. Done. That was a little bit of effort, not too out of breath. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that. I've got a sort of thicker level over here where most of the undulations that I wanted to fix can now at least be repaired, so that they can be repaired. And then down there wasn't too much wrong with the undulations, but rather little dips and bits and pieces that needed to be filled up. So that's a thinner layer, but it fills those little holes quite nicely. Over here where the tree is, that's also one of those areas that need to settle. But otherwise, I think I'm happy. Now, obviously, when you water this in, it's going to settle, especially in those dips. So you're just going to have to keep an eye over it over the next couple of days. If you do this, I'll be keeping an eye over mine the next couple of days. Remember to wear sunscreen. I didn't today. That was a bad idea. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, and share this with your buddies. Cheers.